struggles,
innovation,
going all in,
not holding back,
mindset,
being a leader,
paving their own way,
putting the real in real estate,
listing legacies, selling luxury. You have The Vault.
unlocking conversations in real estate today.
We are live with The Vault. I'm your host, Jess, Hastings-Lesperance, and let me introduce my co-host, Alexa Miller.
Welcome back. I'm very excited to welcome our guest today, Carissa Bye. Carissa is a Grey Bruce local where she has been a mortgage specialist with Meridian Credit Union for 6 years with a total of 15 years of banking experience. So welcome, Carissa.
Oh, well, thank you very much. So thrilled to be here.
I'm excited. Me too. And I have 1,000 questions. I always do. I think I always say I have so many questions.
Yeah, half an hour is never ever long enough.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
won't be. Just start by telling us a bit about yourself and your background.
Well, as you just said, 15 years in the banking world, I actually didn't ever picture myself as a mortgage specialist. I always thought that I would be going into the agricultural sector. I grew up farming with my dad. We still actively farm together. So I always thought I'd be doing, ag lending or something like that at Farm Credit Canada. But
I love it.
I was really fortunate enough with my experiences at Meridian that I had like really awesome mentors there. And along the way, I just kind of got pushed into the residential and grew my experience there. And then boom, next thing you know, I'm like, how has it been 15 years?
Yeah.
And all with Meridian Credit Union. So
Oh,
I've been
wow.
pretty fortunate with my experiences there and just the right people. And I guess maybe being in the right spot at the right time. So
Yeah.
here I am now,
I
hanging out
love
with
it.
you guys.
I think that's amazing because 15 years to me means experience, which means I want to work with Carissa.
I agree.
I guess you could say it does make a difference,
It does.
especially now, like mortgage lending and mortgage financing. You even think of like 10 years ago, I hate to say it, but it was so much easier to get a mortgage 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the constant changes every single year between what the federal government changes with, oh, we're going to add this thing called the benchmark rate. Oh, we're going to add this thing called the stress test.
Mhm.
Oh, we're going to do a first time home buyer's rebate of this. And oh, we're going to give you a forgivable down payment through the county. And it's just so much has changed even
Yeah.
in 10 years. And now we're in this industry, we're in higher interest rates and where are we going to get our down payment from? And the cost of living is so much higher. So it's pretty cool to have 15 years of experience over that to kind of like see how everything has come to this standpoint and how to help people now.
It is.
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
Like,
Should we start?
reading my list here. Where do we
I know,
start?
me too. But the number one thing that's happening right now is mortgage rates are going up.
Yeah. Mortgage rates are going up and we're going to sit here patiently waiting to see what Bank of Canada does in September. We all wish that we had that glass ball to look in to see what things are going to happen, because I was honestly saying at the beginning of this year, the fourth quarter of the year will come and maybe we'll see those interest rates go back down or
Yeah.
stabilize a little bit. Whereas, we might actually see Bank of Canada increase again in September.
Yeah.
And so it really puts impact on people, especially those with variable rate mortgages, and especially with those that use line of credits back in 2021, 2022, when real estate was hot. And people were like, I'm going to get a line of credit at 2.45% interest.
Yeah.
And we're going to max it out at 150,000 so I can buy this cottage up in beautiful Red Bay. Well, guess what? Now interest rates are like 7.2% on a $150,000 line of credit.
Yeah.
So
That's almost
Yeah.
half the money rate.
I know.
Like
I know.
with more expectations.
It's kind of like a painful experience for people that are in the position where their mortgages are maturing now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, like such a massive benefit of working with experienced
Mhm.
mortgage specialists and understanding kind of what your privileges are with the mortgage company that you're with.
I agree.
So like Meridian Credit Union, for example, we had folks whose mortgages, we've got lots of folks whose mortgages matured in 2023.
Right.
And they're going from interest rates that used to be in the 2 percentiles of things to now all of a sudden they're at like 5.5, 6,
Mhm.
6.25. So we've got this great product where we can actually blend and extend people's mortgage terms midterm without prepayment penalty.
Yep.
So people that are aware of this and that we were able to talk with about this when they signed their original mortgage documents, those people started reaching out to us a year ago.
Yeah.
hey, our mortgage is maturing next year in 2023. Can we blend and extend our existing rate? It's
Pretty
like,
sure
heck
we
yeah,
did.
you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's like, it's just working with people that are informed about what their own policies are. So,
Yeah.
again,
And knowing when they're coming up. Like I'm always
Yeah.
looking, oh my gosh, when is it coming up?
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Like my
Yeah.
girlfriend just sent me a screenshot today. Hopefully she won't listen to this, but my girlfriend just sent me a screenshot today. She's like, is this when my mortgage matures? And it's like 2026, 1.79%. I'm like, yes, 2026.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, yes, you're being aware of this. I love that.
Yeah.
Because lots of people that you talk to, you're like, when's your term coming up for renewal?
Yeah.
I'll get back to you on that.
I just asked my sister that. She's like, where do I even find that? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
And this is
Mhm.
where the gap is, why there's such an impact on the economy and people,
Yeah.
right? It's because maybe we need to make ourselves more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And it is
Yeah.
our responsibility,
Yes.
not my mortgage brokers,
Nope, they're
mine.
not gonna
Yours.
argue.
right?
And it is like, I get it when people are purchasing homes, especially first time home buyers.
Mhm.
They are so excited, and it's your job and my job
Yeah.
to sit there and be like, okay, you're thinking a lot with your heart. We need to like think a little bit more
Yeah.
with your head.
Yeah.
And then it's my job to sit there and be like, I know that you want this house really badly, but you're literally draining yourself of every last penny that you own, and you're going to have to live under a rock for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you really want? And then,
They kind of,
let's sit
Take
back
the
and take a
perspective.
breath. Yeah.
yeah.
Or you again, like working with real estate agents that are looking out for your best interests as well, and making sure that they're not putting you into something over their head.
Yeah.
I think as women, we all have that like gut intuition
You do.
of, oh, I really don't know if this is the right thing
Yeah.
for this person, or I really don't know if this is the right thing for me.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think as a female, nothing against guys in this industry, obviously,
Yeah.
but
We're the caretakers,
Yeah.
right? And it's a fiduciary duty on your end and on our end to
Yeah.
make sure that we're setting our clients up. I would never want a client to, even though they love it, a quote my mom used to always teach me, do you love it or list it? So are
Do
you
you
thinking
love it?
functionally or are you thinking emotionally?
yeah,
Right. And
Yeah.
that's always something when we flipped houses, she would ask us,
Mhm.
yeah.
you're going to keep it or you're going to list it? And
That is
I
so
always want to
smart.
list it. I don't always want to keep it.
So interesting.
I know. Right. And I'm like, stop it.
He's Mr. Empathetic
Yeah.
over here. You got the hard ass in here. That's a good balance,
Funny,
though.
it is. Well, that's why we work so well together.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
If Adam could keep every single item, we could. Although we wouldn't have been able to make our biggest move and build our house if we kept more of those. So that was
Right.
what I was seeing. Like,
Yeah.
we want the 50 acres with the brand new house and the kids running around.
Mhm.
We need to sell it.
Yeah. And you have to have somebody that's also willing to tell you,
Yeah.
you know what, Jess, like, this is too much. You guys are going to be in over your head with this one.
Yeah.
So I think, like, going back to somebody has to be able to kind of take accountability sometimes.
Yeah.
That can be on me too. It's hard to have hard conversations with
It is,
people.
Yeah.
But I would rather be able to go to bed and sleep at night
Yeah.
and not worry about, are these people going to be able to like live,
Well, that's the
have
thing.
kids and be able to pay for them?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. To me, it's fiduciary duty that we have the hard conversations because I'm taking care of you. Maybe you don't want to hear it, but I bet you the next day you wake up, you're like, oh, thank God she told me that.
Yeah. And sometimes the best experiences that you have are with people that actually take your advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's-
Right? You
Because
saved
if-
me.
yes.
And they had a leak or whatever.
Yes.
Right? I've heard that before too. And I'm thinking, thank God we
Yes.
didn't commit.
I am not like to like make my head big or anything like that, but I think that I've had such great such a great career doing what I'm doing because you take the time to
Mhm.
put into the people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And because you can make sure that, okay, you're going to be fine. Sure, you got the odd thing that's going to go sideways.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're doing right by the person and
Yeah.
you've explained everything in full to them, even though it might be hard, then
You've
sure.
done your job. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when we go back to talking about, getting a mortgage and what the heck do you do and what are your first steps and stuff like that, it's like, get pre-approved.
Yeah.
There's just so many things. I was talking to a good friend of mine this morning. He sent me a property on realtor.ca and it's a 3-season beautiful cottage. It was on a seasonal road. It didn't have indoor plumbing. It was all exterior. And I said to him, like, you know that you can't get a mortgage on this.
Yeah.
And he was like, why not? And I explained all of those things. And he was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm like, yeah, if you had gone in there and just purchased it cash because it's $200,000, like
Yeah.
you would have been on the hook for it, bud.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
first thing to do, like when you're trying to get a mortgage or trying to purchase a home, please just go out there and get a pre-approval. Even if it's your third or fourth or fifth house.
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
haven't purchased a
always.
home in 5 years,
Yeah. Every
there's
home's so
much that has
unique.
changed.
Yeah. And you have no
yeah.
idea. You truly have no idea what you can or can't afford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might think and don't listen to mortgage calculators that are online.
Mhm. You cannot do a mortgage pre-approval in 90
No.
seconds, people.
It's not possible. No,
Can you repeat that?
You cannot do a mortgage pre-approval in 90 seconds. It does not exist. A computer doesn't give you a mortgage, a person does.
That's gonna be your quote for the podcast.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. Perfect. Because the other misconception out there that we get all the time, and I started saying it every single time when I work with people, you are pre-approved.
Yeah.
We know what your affordability looks like. We know what your purchase price range is based off of your down payment.
Right.
That's the numbers. That's it. That's
Mhm.
what the pre-approval is. We don't know the property.
Right.
We don't know how many acres it is. We don't know how many bedrooms it is. We don't know the condition of the property.
Yeah.
So take your pre-approval as numbers only.
Yeah.
Because what I had seen happen in the past before I kind of added that whole like asterisk,
Yeah.
italicized, bold.
Yeah. Read this.
Yeah, people would come back and I'd be like, where's your offer, your condition of financing? Oh, well, we were pre-approved.
Mhm.
It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then especially at the height of COVID, when we
Mhm.
saw so many houses going over list price
Oh
being
gosh, yeah.
sold,
And
right?
there's such an impact on that now.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch.
Yes.
Even
Right?
other realtors, like I'll get an offer from obviously a real estate agent, and it's a firm offer, no finance. So of course, if you're a new realtor, listen to this. You need to ask questions. What are their finances? Don't just assume that,
Yeah.
oh, it's great, it's a firm offer. So I was pressing for information and this realtor told me, oh, well, they're pre-approved. Okay, that's not firm approved. There's a difference and you need to understand what that difference
Yeah.
is.
That's exactly it.
And different banks do different
Yes,
approvals
that's
and
so
different
right.
time periods.
Yes.
And they color code it. Does this sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
my one friend said, well, it's a red or a green.
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea what this
Yeah.
means, but
Yeah.
What does that mean? I
Well,
only know if A, B, and C.
It depends. I guess it depends on two different things. Like on a commercial lending
Mhm.
level, there was a lot of color coding that came in for COVID affected industries.
Mm.
So for commercial and small business, it's like, we're not lending to these
Gotcha.
industries anymore. Like for example, restaurants. If
Yeah.
somebody wanted to open a new restaurant, like forget it. That's out.
Right.
If you've got people that are say from Mississauga and they want to purchase a property up on the peninsula, 9 times out of 10, they're working with a mortgage broker
Right,
out
yeah.
of the city. Mortgage brokers are then sourcing deals out, mortgage brokers are then sourcing mortgage financing out to people to financial institutions in Mississauga.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't know
No.
what cisterns are. They don't
Yeah.
know what dug wells
Wells
are. They
or
don't know what
septic. We
septics
get the
are.
most strangest
Yeah.
conditions and requests.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm always, I tell people like, those are usually the Hail Mary phone calls I get a
Yeah.
week outside of
Mhm.
closing. We can't get the financing anymore. We were pre-approved and they told us it was fine, but then they won't give us the financing because the property is on a well.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's because they're not from our geographic area.
Yeah.
And I feel like if anyone's listening, just work with someone local to the area.
exactly.
You just
And
gotta
stick
do
to
it.
your area as a realtor because again,
Mhm.
I've received offers with nothing about water samples. A bank always wants a water sample if
Yeah.
it has a well, and usually water treatment. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Again, it's just going to be all dependent on what
Yeah.
financial institution that you're working with. So there could be a case where, say, if you go to, the Green Bank, they want a water
The Green Bank.
potability sample.
I want to meet the Green Bay.
Like with Meridian, as long as you're on a well, if the condition is in your offer to purchase, then we're going to get a copy of your fulfillment of conditions anyway, right?
Yeah.
So we don't, unless it's some sort of a red flag, like it's written in the offer that the well needs to be replaced or something like
Mhm.
that, we technically don't require any sort of water potability certificate.
Right.
Or again, 9 times out of 10, you guys are doing your job and due diligence to write down septic is going to be pumped and inspected.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's our cherry on top that,
It
okay,
is.
we're covered there.
Yeah.
So again, just different financial institutions, different policies. If you're, say, a seasoned buyer and you want to purchase a rental property, so many differences now between financial institutions. Meridian will still let people do 80% loan to value, so 20% down payment minimum for
This is
rental
why
properties.
you're so great, because it's really hard to find that other places.
Yeah, I mean, mortgage brokers will of course know like their stuff, but I find that you just have to kind of, we're in an area where, you know, Grey County, Bruce County, our population size is smaller.
It
So
is
it's kind of
smaller.
handy just to be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, Jess, I have this property. It's kind of weird. I think we did that the other day with
Last
one of your
week.
properties.
Yeah.
Up on the peninsula.
Yeah.
So it's handy to be able to call up colleagues that you might have worked with or people that you've crossed paths with at different financial institutions to understand what they can offer.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, too, if I can't do the deal for somebody because of a holdup, then I can be like, hey, Sean, can you do this deal at RBC? Help me out. You
It
guys have
is.
different programs. So
Right.
rental properties, like we need 20% down payment minimum.
Yeah.
Other financial institutions, they want 30 or
Yeah, it's
35%.
much higher. Adam and I just went through this last year, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know-
that's right. Because you guys had done some investigating around too.
Yeah, and it took us a while, but as I said to Adam, there's always a way. You just have to figure it out.
Mhm.
And what I feel like there's a misperception about is that the realtor and your mortgage person can connect and talk to each other.
Oh my gosh, that's
Right?
like, yes, it's a
Mhm.
game
Do
changer
it.
for me.
Pick the phones up and talk.
If your real estate agent wants to stay connected and be so much in your business that they want to be able to talk
Yeah.
to your mortgage person,
Yeah.
let them do
them
it.
do it,
Yeah.
Because guess what? At the end of the day, there's all this jargon
Yeah.
that we use, and I hate to say it because I'm guilty. The
Yeah.
acronyms that we use, like we just should have like a straight up law. Don't use acronyms when you're working
Just
with
give
your
me the
clients.
log.
and
What do
your-
they mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't know. So it's like, this is so much power to me as a buyer,
Yeah.
having my mortgage agent and my mortgage specialist working together. I had a real estate agent. We were working with first time home buyers
Yeah.
last week. They're from Collingwood. They're trying to buy a place in Owen Sound.
Yeah.
Like I can't do this and sit and talk with them face to face. They've
Mhm.
got important business to do during the day. Time's
Yeah.
money for them.
Right.
So they just connected me with their real estate agent and we had a 3-way text messaging
love it.
conversation going on.
Yeah.
Of just
Mhm.
like,
It's a team.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what I like is there's no misinformation. Like I'm getting the information about their finances
Yeah.
directly from you versus from the buyer who doesn't know.
We're trying to paraphrase it. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, I think she said this.
I think we're approved. I'm like, can I please call your mortgage person?
Like,
Yeah. And you know what? I guess it all comes with time because I remember when I first started out as a mortgage specialist, like, I mean, I'm sure it's the same as a real estate agent. It's intimidating
Mhm.
working with folks that
Yeah.
are asking a lot
Yeah.
of you because you just want to be like, yes, 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 yes to you, yes to you, yes to me, yes to everyone. And we get caught up in that. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, but I can't do this or I can't do this.
Yeah.
And you just want to like please people.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice that over the years, that kind of excitable energy
Mhm.
has left my body.
Yeah, I'd say what I've learned in the last couple of years, a few deals where the mortgage specialist was telling us too soon. I'm pretty sure you're approved, you're good to go for a client. And
Oh.
what happened 2 times in a row? We were told too soon, it got the client too excited and the deal fell through.
No.
They're left on the clock. So I've learned to, yes, okay, but we need to see something in writing,
Yeah.
right?
And that's very smart.
Yeah.
I always get it in writing from the mortgage person that they can firm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't take my client's word for it because
No.
I've had that happen. I took
Yeah.
their word. They were not good to go and they firmed up. It all worked out, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Because
have
if
to
there's
ask
something
questions.
that you guys have to fall back on,
Mhm.
Yeah.
because it's really easy to start pointing fingers when
Yeah.
there's nothing on paper to prove
Yeah.
it. You've only had a verbal conversation.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and in this day and age, it's like,
Yeah.
you
try
have
and
to have
acknowledge-
something.
Yeah.
But you know what still surprises me though is the number of people that still come
Yeah.
and say to me, my real estate agent wants me to waive my financing
That's crazy.
or and it's not, I don't see it in this market a lot. It's
Yeah.
in a different market where but still you're just like, I'm not comfortable. And these are the reasons I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm explaining the reasons based off of what a real estate agent should be
saying
to them.
Yeah.
You could be sued. You
Yes.
could be this and you could be that.
You're
Did your
putting
real
yourself
estate
at
agent
risk.
explain this to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not getting that explanation. So
Yeah.
you're kind of like, I don't need to close your deal. I'm fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that best model that when you know that, you see a sticky situation and you're thinking,
yeah.
You
don't know
hire
we should go there.
Yeah.
you
And-
hire the professionals for a reason.
Yeah.
Listen to them.
Yeah. And I'm sure same with you guys. It's the same thing with me, is that, are we in the industry of sales? Yes.
Mhm.
Is that how we all make a living? Yes.
Mhm.
But just because we put food on our table from that does not mean that we say yes to every single deal or every single
Yeah.
person that
Yeah.
comes along.
Exactly.
There's certain real estate agents that I personally would rather not work with.
Yeah. You have to learn the market pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. So
There's
it's
nothing
nice.
wrong with that because who's going to give you stress and who's
Yeah.
going to work well with you.
Yeah, it's not a
Right.
popularity contest
Yeah.
to be like, I have all of these real estate agents that I'm working with. It's like, no, these are my real estate agents that I work with. These are my mortgage industry people that I work with
Yeah.
because they're the ones that I trust.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Nothing better than me. Pick up the phone, ask some questions, know you're
Mhm.
getting real straight up answers from good people.
yeah, and the answer might not have a nice pretty bow on it, but at least you're like, okay, that's the answer, and that's
Yeah.
that. I can trust that that's
Mhm. I always say there's courage in saying no.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
definitely,
I know. And we have
definitely.
to say it a lot too, right?
Because if
you
you
know?
don't set the expectation,
Then they're gonna walk all over you.
oh yeah, they'll walk all over you, or like closing comes and things are just going right sideways.
Yeah.
And you've
Yeah.
got a lawyer down your throat and you've got your client down your throat.
Yeah.
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 So speaking of that, and we have a previous podcast with a lawyer, and I asked him this question too, but I want to hear your perspective. Is it common for the bank to all of a sudden back out prior to closing? And why would they do that?
It's interesting. Like that's a really good question because I've only maybe had a handful of scenarios where people have contacted me, maybe 2 handfuls over the years, where people have contacted me like a week and a half or 2 weeks ahead of closing to say they're not doing it anymore.
Huh.
There's always two sides to every story.
That's true.
Right.
Maybe they got fired.
So it could be, yeah, maybe they got fired.
Have you ever had it happen on one of your own deals? Like
No.
The underwriter just says,
No.
oh, okay, that's good.
Definitely not. And I think that the nice thing is that, and I think that's the biggest difference between using a credit union
Yeah.
versus
the
using
people.
a bank.
Yeah.
We have the privilege still of being able to pick up our telephones and do exactly what the three of us are doing and have a conversation with deals about our underwriters.
Yeah.
I'm doing a construction mortgage application right now that it's really, 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 really hard to get it approved. Not because they aren't great applicants, but because they're self-employed.
Yeah.
Right.
I know all about this.
Right.
Teresa's been our go-to.
And so this guy, he's got all the knowledge now of how he should really look at filing his income tax return. But right now he's in a pickle because he's 70% completed on his house and he needs more money.
Yeah.
And he's in this jam.
Yeah.
And so I've been working with my underwriter and she's so awesome. She's like, okay, let's look at it this way. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not going to work. Okay, let's try it this way.
Oh, I love it.
Let's,
Because you got to think so creatively.
you have
right?
to. And she's coming up like, I'm pretty creative when it comes to trying to look outside the box. But with this one, I was stumped because I was literally like, I've pulled out like all of my things. I can't, like, I don't have any more tricks. And then it was like, okay, Jess, you look at it now. And she's looking at it and she's like, okay, this is what I'm thinking. So now we're in a position that we can't give him as much money, but we can give him like 3/4 of what he needs. And then his family can make up the difference.
Great.
And then next
He figured it
spring,
out.
he's got the tools in his toolbox to be like, hey, this is what I need to do on my income tax
Yeah.
return. So that hopefully in the springtime, we can do like an equity takeout, refinance the property and pay back his parents.
Makes sense.
So it's nice being able to pick up the phone and talk with our underwriters about something because
So
there's
you are
lots of-
connected well with them then? Like,
Oh,
you're-
yeah.
And can
okay.
you
I've always
explain what
wondered.
an underwriter is for those that don't know? I didn't
Yeah.
know what it was until I got into real estate.
Yeah. So the underwriters, they're also called like personal lending coaches.
Is adjudicator the same thing as
Yeah,
underwriter?
adjudicator. Yeah. There you go. Smarty pants. All of our deals that we write, and again, like it's changed over the years.
Yeah.
At one point in time, we had like our own lending limits at the branch level. So if my lending limit was 250,000 and you needed 200,000, I could underwrite your deal at the branch level.
Yeah.
Mm.
But as Meridian has grown, we're now
Right.
the largest credit union in Ontario.
Mhm.
That's kind of the underwriting has to be done at our corporate office.
Right.
So St. Catharines is where our corporate office, and ever since COVID, like, so now our underwriters, some of them work in the office, some of them work from home, but we've got a lot of like really good tenured staff down there. And again, they are led by like a couple of really great, amazing leaders. So underwriters, adjudicators, personal lending, they are there to review our deals. So say you come to me for mortgage financing, I'm the one that puts everything together. I'm the one that's pulling your credit bureau and reviewing your credit bureau activity. I'm the one that's getting your pay stubs and your T4s, your tax returns if you're self-employed,
Right.
and reviewing those with you. So if there's something out of the ordinary, it's like, okay, what happened here? Because by the time that you put your credit bureau and a tax return together, it's pretty wild. Like I can basically tell a story about the person for the last like 4 years of their life between those like
neat.
3 items.
Cool.
So by the time that people sit down with you, you're kind of like, I've already gotten to know you just through the
Your
paperwork
paperwork.
side of things.
Right.
So that's really nice. And then I take that information, I write up my application comments about you, about the numbers that are here, and this is why we should give these people a mortgage. Or if there's, say that there's like a marital breakdown and one spouse wants to stay in the house and they need to pay the other spouse out. We sit down together and we write all of our comments up right about that. So by the time it gets down to our underwriting team, it's like they have been sitting there with me
Yeah.
and them. So that's a massive
That's
difference between us and other financial institutions. Whereas other financial institutions, it's like, okay, we're going to hit send and someone will pick it up and review it. I've got no idea
Who
who.
it is.
And then we're going to get it back as a yes or no. And I think the downfall with that is if the answer is no, it's like, well, why?
Yeah.
And you're not getting the coaching that you need to try and get a house maybe 12 months down the road or 15 months down the road.
Right.
So it's really nice from like that underwriting standpoint that we've got that connection and that we can just pick up the
Oh,
phone.
big time. Yeah.
Same with our mortgage processing team. If there's like a hiccup with closing or something like that, and we've talked to the lawyer and the lawyer's like, yeah, we're going to be delayed a day. We can pick up the phone and call our mortgage processing team and be like, just got off the phone with the lawyer, closing is delayed till tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it's
I love
really
the
nice.
communication.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's so huge. God, I'd have so much anxiety. So much
It is a lot.
anxiety.
Like every step we have to tell 1,000 other people.
Yeah.
And the client. And
Yeah. And it's
fun.
nice like working for a company that very much sticks to their principles and morals.
Yeah.
What is one thing you wish realtors knew or understood that we might not about your industry?
I think that you guys think sometimes that it's maybe a lot easier for us than what it is.
I
Right.
agree with that.
Like especially maybe new real estate agents, because remember how I said like there's always two sides to every story.
Yeah.
You guys are dealing with clients that are like super happy and excited and this is their first home.
Yeah.
And then perhaps they don't have a pre-approval and it gets to us and it's like, what is taking so long?
Yeah.
That is like the number one question I always get. What is taking
Yeah.
so long?
Yeah.
And it's
I've been
like,
guilty of that. I'm sorry.
Well, think of how many papers you have to look at, like
Yeah,
tax
it's so
receipts.
true.
And like it's even
Yeah.
sending it in. I'm like, oh
I
my
know.
God, what more do you need?
there's that many more people living in Ontario. There's that many
Yeah,
more
that's
people buying
true.
houses. It's like the price of fuel. Why is fuel going up? Because there's such a massive amount of consumption of it because there's that many more vehicles on the road every day.
Yeah.
So if we're taking our time, it's not because we're taking our time or that I'm taking my time. It's probably because every freaking purchase that people have now, we need some sort of an appraisal to verify the value.
Yeah.
And we're sitting waiting for appraisers.
That's a whole nother podcast.
It is. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
We'll do
Yeah.
another one on that.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So yeah.
Awesome. So where can our viewers find you if they want
Yeah.
to connect?
So you can find me at the Owen Sound branch right across from Canadian Tire on 16th Street in Owen Sound. Or like all of my information, of course, is on our meridiancu.ca webpage.
Yeah.
You can find me there too, or email or phone.
Yeah. And for those listening, you have to use Carissa. She's done many of our deals and our clients' deals. She's our go-to. I will
You
say.
guys are such a massive
Yeah.
supporter of mine and vice versa, because you guys do such a great job for your clients too and having their backs. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people need to remember too, like Meridian Credit Union is Ontario based. So if you want to
Yeah.
buy a house out east or out west or something like that, unfortunately, we just don't have that regulation. We're provincially regulated, but I can do your financing for you like Ontario wide.
That's good to
So
know. Yeah.
don't be worried if you're, buying down in Oshawa or the Sioux or something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for
See you
joining.
again.
That's the vault.